Hello again. It's your host, Brian Prime here, and I just wanted to say a couple of things, and I will keep it short so we can get on to the good stuff. First off, thank you so much for listening. Void Signal is nothing without people to hear it. Second, you can help support the show by just clicking my buttons or leaving comments and sharing my posts. But more importantly, if you've discovered an artist because of Void Signal, please let them know. It helps them and it helps me. I like to know that I've done my part, at least, and it helps someone discover a thing that they love. So please let me know. You can also support the show by joining the Void Signal Patreon over at voidsignal.net or patreon.com/voidsignal. All the tiers are the same so that you can choose something that fits in your budget and still get access to everything that's there. And for as little as $2 per month, you can get hours and hours of additional series, extra discussions, extended cuts of episodes, early releases of episodes, all kinds of stuff. And it helps me create more weekly, almost weekly, ad-free Void Signal. One last order of business, friends, and then our time is at an end. Next week, there will be no episode of Void Signal because I will be a Wasteland Weekend. If you are going to Wasteland Weekend and you see me, please say hello. I will gladly give you a Void Signal bottle cap if I've still got any left on me. Supplies are limited. I'm going to be giving them out throughout the festival, but if you happen to catch me, I'll happily give you one. I will kind of be hanging around the Great Northern Tribe a little bit. Some Mechanismus friends will be there. So, try and find me kind of near the theme zone, wherever they are. Anyway, that's it for now. I hope you are well, and I hope you stay safe. I hope you stay loud, and I hope you take care. Until next time.
Hello, it's Bijan. I'm also, maybe it's because I'm not speaking. Is that better?
I mean, it's better. You sound fine. You're just like kind of soft-spoken, but I'm picking you up both up pretty well, so I don't think it'll be an issue or anything.
I turned it up a little bit.
There you go.
Better. Oh, now I see. Yeah, it's just this focus, right, man? I don't know.
Yeah, this is a little better. You sound a little more narratory, you know.
Yeah. Welcome to my podcast.
Yeah, a little more Attenborough-y, maybe.
It's the Mobiius. The tired voice.
Can you do a like Werner Herzog impression at all?
I don't know who that is.
You don't know who Werner Herzog is? The German actor?
No. Who?
German documentarian.
Yeah.
He played the guy in The Mandalorian in the first season of The Mandalorian who wanted the baby, the old Imperial guy.
The baby.
Homie's a baby.
What? Do that again?
You've not seen that? The baby. Bring the baby to me, and I will. I can't do it very well, but fucking, you've not heard this, dude. Where you been, man?
I don't know.
Okay, all right. I was like I thought it was like, oh, we can get him to do some Werner Herzog impression and be like, the baby Mobiius comes to the, I don't know, whatever. It's fine. But you sound great either way. So we can go ahead and start if you guys are ready. So I'm not wasting your time anymore. I'm going to continue eating my burrito and I'll just, just sort of mute myself while I do. But okay, welcome to Void Signal. And my guests are on time this time, very timely guests. Bijan Tzafu is what you record as, and Mobiius Jonathan Steamhouse. No, it's Nicholas, right? Is that?
Yeah, I go by Nick.
Okay, all right, Nick.
Nicholas.
Okay, not Jonathan Smokehouse, as I've been informed.
For you, maybe.
Ooh, yeah.
Well, steamy in here.
I know, it's early. But as soon as Werner Herzog comes up, people just got so sexually excited. Yeah, it's natural. So the thing I wanted to have you both on and talk to you about, and sort of I will open with this and put the idea to you both, is that you both are, in my mind at least, are representative of a sort of newer wave of kind of EDM, industrial, electronic-y stuff. You both put the effort into logos and lore on your websites, both independently of each other, of like, I'm going to spruce up this thing I'm making and give it background and depth. As two people who have both given thought to your brand, how important do you find that as a component to getting your music across? And how much more important is it than your music, if you feel that it is? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Ooh, that's a great question.
You want to go first?
Okay.
No, you can go first, man.
All right. I'll wing it. Also, prefacing this, we're both extremely sleep deprived. I slept for like 2 or 3 hours last night, and I don't know what Tzafu's running on, but I don't think it could be that much more.
It's
Okay.
not a lot. It's like 5 or something.
Great. I
So-
can't wait to hear
so-
these unfiltered
So
answers.
prefacing the entire rest of this with just keep that in mind. I think this is probably going to sound cynical, but when I started like deciding to take music seriously, I never really considered myself a particularly strongly musically inclined person, or didn't think that was something that I could pursue, which is a story for a different time. But I tried everything else adjacent to being an artist before going all in and being an artist. And so when I made that jump to decide to focus on it, I thought that looking at what other people had done beforehand, marketing is really important, and treating music not only as artistic expression, but as a business. If you want to, if you want to do it, then there's some ugly truths that you kind of have to chomp down on. And so going into it, I was very conscious, like I want a cohesive look and I want to have like strong branding and logos and things like that. Just I guess from a business sense perspective, that like when people see something, I want them to be like, oh, that's Mobiius. Or I don't know if I had the name at that point, but that was my intention behind it. And I'd also just happen to love doing branding and graphic design and playing around with that stuff. I think it's really fun. So it's, even if it started off maybe a little bit cynical and of necessity, I have a blast with it. And when I'm feeling burned out on music, I like to go over and design cover art ideas or playlist covers or
Gotcha.
a new variation of my logo, just because I think it's fun.
Okay.
Does
Fair
that
enough.
answer the question, right?
Yeah, it does. It sounds like you seem to have struck a balance for it of like, when I get burned down on this component, I'd go do the other thing. But is it something that is in the back of your mind at any point during the creative process? Are you ever like, I'm making this thing, but maybe it's not quite fitting with the Mobiius brand or something to that effect? Do you ever feel that?
Yeah, of course, all the time. Like, just because I do a lot of different shit, and then what ends up getting put out is usually kind of curated to fit into the box. But especially now, I've been working on this album seriously for like the last year, and there's a lot of stuff that's quite outside the box of what I'm doing. So that's just going to be kind of a leap of faith starting later this year and into next year.
Gotcha.
And, yeah, we'll see how it goes. But I think you also asked if it was more important or something like that than the music, and I think certainly not. The music has to come first. Branding is important. I think people you want to have an identity. When people see something, they're like, oh, that's this. I can recognize it. But, you can have an amazing brand, and if your music sucks, then it's not going to work.
Agreed. Because there are, I mean, I'm not going to like name names, but certainly some spring to mind of like great brand, fantastic shirts and merch and logo and all these kinds of things. But like the music is maybe not my flavor or is uninteresting to me in some way.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
I mean, you could get yourself a long way if you're really good at marketing and branding and your music is mid. You could still, if you're good enough at it, you could drive yourself pretty far on that. But, there's a hard ceiling where your art's going to have to level up if you really want to, shoot for the stars or something. I'm out of metaphors.
That's okay. That was a good one. What do you find that to be true as well in your case?
Yeah. I mean, when I started, I kind of, bouncing around and choosing names and stuff like that. Everything's new. Everything's wonderful. So you kind of just fall into it, wanting to be a part of something bigger than you. At least that's how I got into music and the way that I felt. But, going through it more, kind of just finding my way, understanding that, hey, I can make something of this, I think. And I want it to be different because I don't want to sound like everybody else. I also want to have something like just be a little bit more personal. So it really stemmed from like finding my own name, because I had like a bunch of names before I actually started producing. So once like, I figured that out and kind of just made it up in a way. The logo and kind of the lore and stuff came later. Like I knew I wanted a symbol. I just it needed to be unique, and I drew it, and then like my brother drew it for me because he's an actual like visual artist. But I think all that stuff is important. Like branding is definitely important because it sets you aside from it. it makes you unique in a way. Like, oh, if I see this symbol, then I know that this is this person, and this is this person's music. But the thing that I've found recently, I've always been, not always, but when I first started, when I had this Spire symbol, I was putting that out. That was my profile picture. I mean, that's my PFP right here. And because my focus or my idea was, I just want this to be about the music. Like, forget me, forget Bijan as a person. Just like, it's about the music. I don't really want to show my face, yada, yada. But more and more kind of understanding, like, you're missing, and when I say you're, I'm talking about myself, like, I'm missing the community, the connection part of that. Like, people can only connect so much to a symbol. They want to know who is the person behind making the music. And it's kind of difficult, just in terms of like what I believe and like what I want out of this. Cause part of me is like, yeah, no, I love people. I want to be around people. I want to be part of the community. But then saying, like, showing people the behind the scenes, it's like, the thing is, like, I believe that it's not all me. Like, there's something else, and that's like a whole different story. But I just seen the kind of the other side of the coin in that, where it's like too much branding, like not enough personality, you kind of lose people. And when I started being more just, hey, this is me, and showing my face and stuff, it's like, oh, people are resonating with that because they can actually connect on a human level. So yeah, I think it's really important, but yeah, you can't get away from the basis, right? The fundamentals. Like, you have to have good music. It can only get you so far. Like Nick was saying,
Agreed. Yeah, agreed. And well said. I do, and I agree with you. I think the branding is really more important than it ever has been. You're only going to get so far before the magic trick is revealed of, they got this far based on looks, because they actually don't spend the time or whatever, or the music isn't that good.
It sucks now. Just real quick, that's it. Yeah. Like, it's annoying for me, because for whatever reason online, I'm not the same person I am socially. Like, I'll go up and talk to you, hug you, say I love you, even though I just like met you the first day. But with being online, I don't know what changed, but it's just, I'm more reserved in that way, where I'm still not always showing my face and stuff like that. But now we're in a time where people just want to take your phone out and record whatever you're doing at the drop of a hat. Like, I don't know. It's different.
He brings up a really good point with like the face, the human element too. And I think that plays a multifaceted role. Humanity and branding in music is that, yeah, like in the current climate, people do want to see your face, and they do want to like connect with the person, or like, maybe a character of yourself, depending on how you decide to do it. And similarly, maybe this is off topic, but I've found the same thing. I also do a lot of vocals in my music, specifically, or I started specifically for that reason, like looking at artists like Rez or other big electronic artists. And I'm like, what are their biggest songs? And they were almost always, without fail, songs that had vocals in them. And I think it's just because people want to hear people, and they connect with that more easily. Yeah, I don't know where to go with that, but
no, I know exactly what you're saying. I agree with that 100%.
I do tend to agree, and I think Rez and artists like Rez and Eddie and things like that are great examples of. And again, it's one of those times where I love it or hate it as a tool for measuring things, but Spotify gives a representative of how popular something might be. So being able to like look at that data and be like, yeah, without a doubt, this seems to be the thing that seems to be working for you in that regard. Bijan, do you find that to be like a huge barrier for you because you tend to make music without vocals and you don't add it in yourself? Is that a thing that you find to be like frustrating or a challenge? Or
I don't see it so much as a challenge. It's more of something that I just haven't done yet, and it's on the list. Like, I'm like, oh, okay, I want to work with a vocalist. Like, I love, female vocalists in particular. Just something about like that kind of siren-esque, I think would just fit well with like the music that I make. But I definitely notice, at least between my songs, the attraction to more vocals. Like on Resurrection, those vocals were part of like a pack on Splice or something, and I just manipulated it in a certain way, and people seem to love that. So I definitely get that, and I see it with myself too. Like, I'm listening to a lot of music that has vocals and I'm belting them in my car, but I don't know. It's not like it's not always a conscious thing when I'm creating. It's like, oh, this needs a vocal. Like it's usually just this lead will be the vocal of the track. But I definitely recognize that, yeah, like we like to hear a human speak, a human sing, talk, you know. But yeah, I guess my first kind of dabble in that was through Static, because I went on Fiverr, whatever, and I wrote the lyrics and I hired somebody to just kind of speak them. And yeah, I don't know.
I'm sorry, does Through Static have fucking vocals in it? Am I like
yeah, no, you're not stupid.
What the fuck? I'm like, what the fuck is he talking about? Does that song have...
you didn't know? You didn't know that? No, man. It's because I wouldn't even call that a vocal track. It's just in the break and that's it.
Okay.
You know? But yeah, it has vocals. It has lyrics.
Wow, interesting. Okay. I mean, I've listened to that song a bunch and at various volumes, and I don't think I've ever noticed. Yeah, I'm fucking oblivious.
I don't know.
Cool. Awesome. Little hidden things. Great. I mean, you both are known for hiding things, especially on your websites and shit. So, which is part of the reason, like, honestly, that was the whole reason that I was like, put these two on a show together, because you both had hidden things on your website. And I was like, that's an interesting thing to choose to do. Good enough for me. Let me ask you that question though, Nick, because you do vocals for your project. And did you have a background as a vocalist before you started trying to do that? Or you just were like, I'm gonna fucking make this work?
I'm just gonna fucking make this work.
Okay.
No, yeah. I never have really liked my speaking voice, or I've never been a particularly good singer, or even, you're not even particularly good. Just I'm not a singer. But I am. I did want to have vocals, and I had for years I had been writing songs, just for fun. Like an idea would spring into my head on the way home from work, and I'd sit down and make a rap beat and like do a hip hop song, or I would try singing things, and it always sucked. But it got me. I was writing lyrics for years before I started putting it in my song. So by the time that I was getting to a point where my production was good enough to start releasing things, that I was like, okay, well, I might not be able to sing, but I could probably record myself and maybe make some weird voices, and then I can process it a bunch and it'll be passable. And then I've just sort of been iterating on that ever since, and trying to incrementally get better as I get frustrated with my own limitations.
Would you say that you're satisfied with where you are now? Or is that a component of your music that you would like to see yourself level up significantly? Of my vocals have gotten a lot better because I did this, or this, or whatever.
I don't know if I've ever been satisfied with where I'm at right now.
Okay, fair enough.
But yeah, I think they're getting better. I put out the track Alone earlier this year, or the beginning of this year, and I think that was probably a new high watermark for how good my sung vocals could sound. And so kind of going off of that, tuck that rack away for frequent use later, and I've been iterating and trying to get better, and trying to learn more ways that I can make them better.
Sure.
But I before, near the beginning of COVID, or in the beginning of COVID, I was living in an apartment that had concrete walls and no neighbors directly through my walls, and so I was learning how to do distort my voice and do screaming. Various kinds of screaming. And then I moved to a new place that I could hear my neighbor, coughing through. And I just stopped because I was self-conscious and also didn't want my neighbor calling the cops on me for making dying cat sounds.
Yeah, I was going to say, can't go screaming and your neighbor be okay with it.
But I do really want to get back into that and learn that, because I feel like that's a big hurdle for me, where I'm like, I know how I want this to sound, and I know how I want it to be delivered, and then I try to do it, and it's not how it's supposed to be. So,
sure.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
It's a work in progress.
Okay. That makes sense. And real quick, just to touch on sort of the other component that Bijan had mentioned, people wanting to see your face and know you or see more of you. You have the added benefit of like, you know, being handsome and like, oh, here's a photo of me or whatever.
Damn. Hold up. I'm just kidding.
That was disrespectful.
Yeah.
I'm going to get off now. No, I'm just kidding.
See ya. No, but I mean, you know, seriously, like you have that added benefit of like, here I am. Like it's easy. But has that been a component for you of I'd rather people not know what I look like, or you would rather be behind the scenes, or maybe like not have a mask, but like just be this is unimportant? Or how do you feel about it? Because you have had, you know, the I don't want to say luxury, but you have had the opportunity, I guess, to sort of be like, well, here I am. Here's like the visual component. Here's some like good PR photos and stuff. How much of a factor is that for you, at least?
Wait, I got what you're saying, but what question am I responding to?
Just how much of it's all good. You sleep deprivation and stuff. That's all good. You explained just how much of like the physical in-person component of it is there for you, of like how much do you care about whether people see what you look like or not?
I mean, I honestly don't really have very strong feelings about it.
Okay.
I'll just, you know, when things pop up, or if I try making videos, like I try to make myself look pretty for the internet, like everybody else.
Sure.
But yeah, no, I've never been super shy about turning on a camera and recording some lines. And usually, you know, the good thing about making content and stuff like that is you can do takes and edit the best ones together and stuff like that. But no, I've never felt a need to be super anonymous.
Okay.
Just because it's easier to not be. It's easier to get people. I've found in my experience, I've found that it's easier, you know, just fucking turn your front facing camera on and say some things in the camera and boom. And I don't have to come up with a creative workaround to keep people visually engaged while I'm trying to get this information across. But by the same token, I've been obsessed with masks since I was a little kid. And I've been trying for about a year now to get this mask made. Been designing it for a few years now, trying to find like exactly what it should be. And I finally figured it out, and then hit up some professional places and they're like, oh, that's $10,000. And I was like, oh, okay. So I found somebody who can do it cheaper, but it's slower. So, and I've honestly, this is maybe just taking it off on a completely different tirade, but I would love to hear your opinions, because oftentimes masked groups or performers, they do kind of hide their personalities more and stuff, or at least they do at the beginning. But I would love to be able to perform on stage with a mask and work that into what I'm doing. But now I feel almost like I'm too far gone into like just using my face as branding, that it would be weird if I just started putting on a mask. But again, I love masks and I would love to wear one and have one be part of it, but I'm not really sure how to balance that. But on my to-do list.
Well, yeah, I will. I have some thoughts I'll offer, but Bijan, do you have any just fresh?
Yeah, with masks, I think it's possible. Like I've seen people who, like for instance, One True God. I'm pretty sure for the most part he was always maskless, and then I don't know if it was just his last like album or tour in particular, but he was wearing some sort of mask, and it didn't like come out of nowhere. It was just like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So I think it can work. I think it's just like another component to your artistry. And people will understand that because you already have the attire. And if it's just, a mask covering your face, it's kind of just another piece of that attire that just supports it.
Especially if it's a mask that's like, custom made and like really slick and something really like that it becomes an extension of your brand at that point, because whatever the mask looks like is now what people think of when they see Mobiius. They maybe think of that. I think it's a powerful, because it's like theater. This is a performance, right? Like, but this is a thing that I would hope most people before stepping onto a stage would take into account of, I'm giving a performance for people who have paid to see me. So I think that wearing a mask and having visual components of, and yes, wearing a mask limits visual expression of your face, but how much of that are you doing anyway? So I think that it has the potential to force you, at least in a live venue, of like, upping your game and being a little bit more showmanship, sort of like taking the presentation into account a little bit more. But as far as like suddenly using it out of nowhere, I think it just becomes a tool of the brand sort of a thing. Like Contravoid, like we know there's a normal, handsome looking dude under the mask and everything. Cool, great. But like the mask is like a representative, an icon of the bigger thing. It's a component of, it is representative of, it is not the thing, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think that it's just, I'm doing this now and people will come along with it and be into it, I think. But
yeah, well, just in the same. Sorry, go. I was just gonna say
your thing was better.
No, you don't even know what I was gonna say. No, I was just gonna, in comparison, like just think about other artists that wear masks or things like that. Like we've all known Deadmau5 to have the mouse head, but throughout the years, he's taken it off. We know what Joel looks like. The same thing with Rez, like her goggles. Yeah, but she takes them off, and in the like down times, right, where it's just like on Instagram or doing whatever, like they're just people, but you know that they have that component that will support their art. So I think you could do the same thing, man.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like it has potential as just like the alter ego effect, and you can kind of step more into a character on stage and be, I could just be Mobiius and not have to worry anything about Nick or like what he's worried about or what he's feeling or whatever, and just be that thing for the time where you're on stage or you're performing in whatever capacity, and then take it off and just be a human again.
Agreed. That was something that a previous guest of mine had said that stuck with me from Witch of the Veil. They were talking about how like they started doing their performances as people who'd never been into music or doing performances before, but the costumes and their makeup and everything allowed them to be like, I am this character performing this. I am not me. So when the performance doesn't go great, it's maybe not me. It is the character who has a not great performance. And so there's a little bit of it allows you that sort of, I'm putting on a costume and so I am not me right now. And that little bit of disconnect helped elevate it. Like, I am less concerned about myself in this sort of a situation. So it seems wise, seems valuable as a tool for reaching deep to pull yourself outside yourself a little.
Yeah. Separate the ego a little bit from the thing you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, the two of you have both done remixes, fabulous remixes for the wonderful Phil Gonzo. At what point will we see a collaboration between the two of you? At some point, maybe? Yeah?
Was this the plot of the whole
Yeah,
podcast?
it was. I was like, oh, get them together. And then I'll be like, oh, so
you guys. No,
this is how it works, man. Welcome to Void Signal.
The producer dating show where we pair up good producers to collab. No, it's funny. After what I was on Oscillator, when you had me on Oscillator 1, Nick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's kind of, we were talking for hours, and then there was kind of hey, like, would you be down to collab? So it's in the ether.
Words have been exchanged, but
yeah,
gotcha. Okay.
It's amazing how many collabs go like that. But
yeah,
I've done a lot of collabs this year and last year too, and some have worked and some haven't. And not saying it wouldn't work with Tzafu, we just haven't really tried yet, because like I really admire his artistry and would love to do a track with him. But at the same time, like, he has kind of what he's doing and I have what I'm doing, and sometimes the Venn diagrams will overlap in a way where like, oh, this could be like a really powerful combination. And sometimes, I'm trying to write like 135 BPM house songs about being horny, and I don't know if that'd be like a great mesh with what we do. So it's kind of just a matter of waiting for the right idea and being in the right writing mode. You're like, oh, I want to write stuff like this right now. Okay, I know who I should hit up to see if they want to work on this.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Yeah,
I definitely don't have a great track record when it comes to collabs. Not like they've fallen through. It's just I'm always like, yeah, and then something else comes along, or I go on a different tangent. Like, this is fun right now. This thing that I'm making, or yeah.
See, I thought you were going to say that you didn't have a great track record for horny music, and I was going to be like, that's not true.
I don't know. Do people describe Do I have horny music? I like horny music.
Do you
I can make
not?
horny music.
Yeah, I was gonna say you definitely have some horny music.
I have. Oh yeah, ecstasy. I guess.
Yeah, itch is a horny song, right? Kind of.
If
Hell of a
it
name for a
makes you
horny
horny,
song.
that's a good. Wait, what?
I said that's a hell of a name for a horny song.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
See, and I mean, I guess any song is a horny song, depending upon depending on how you're listening to it, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. That's what I thought you were gonna say, and I was kind of like, oh no, you've got horny songs, homie. Don't worry about it. Okay, awesome. That's good news. And yeah, that is kind of how it works. Is I'm like, I like these two things. Can I smush them together somehow and make them interact? Not always, but I try.
I would watch the producer dating show. Somebody like made a YouTube series where it's like getting two producers in a room and being like, you have to collab on a track and finish it in like 6 hours.
Oh my god,
I'd probably watch that.
That'd be
That's a good
really cool.
idea.
that would be so good. I see. That's the thing that like, if Void Signal, if it takes off more and I have the power, that's a thing I would love to do. Is like force people to like, do this thing, and I'm gonna sit here and judge and watch and commentate and be annoying the whole time. That sounds perfect for me. That's like the perfect vehicle for my skill set, and I just well, we're
Just
getting
sit
there.
back and pair these.
Yeah, and then just talk. Fuck, the money prints itself at that point. Okay, let me ask you this question, just as two electronic music producers existing in the digital age, trying to make this and get this out there. This is a very general question, but I just am curious to hear what comes out. How's it going doing that? Being electronic music producer and trying to like get your fucking shit out there and do your thing. And how is it going currently?
You can go.
I go first again. All right.
Yeah.
I see.
Oh, I just feel like I'm gonna rant, man. I don't want.
No, I'm absolutely gonna rant too. So you go first, and then I'll finish it off.
Okay.
Okay, how's it going? If I am being completely honest, and I try to be, everything is great. That's a lie.
I didn't sugarcoat this. What the hell was that? We're here for a rant.
Everything is great. End of story. No, it's I'm grateful for everything that has happened and that is coming. But man, is this shit fucking hard. I knew that. I knew, going into this, because I don't know if it's like known amongst everybody, but I mean, no, it is. Like leaving my job, coming here to Chicago is a big step. I came here not necessarily to pursue music, but I just wanted to be in this city. I love it here. But I haven't been working until I just started like doing Uber Eats, and it's grueling. It's long hours for less pay. So I'm actually now like having less time to create, even though it's my own schedule. You can work whenever you want, blah, blah, blah. Less time to create because I'm just doing this, 6 p.m. to like 4 a.m. That's why I'm so tired. But on the artistry, like it's challenging because I see like what other people are doing, and I'm not saying this in like comparison, but I'm seeing what other people are doing, like posting on Instagram, blah, blah, and what gets attention. And then I assume, which is kind of wrong, but I assume that attention then leads to like, oh, more people streaming, more people buying your merch, blah, 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 shows. But I have this like weird thing with, I think sometimes I take this a little too seriously. Like it's too precious that I don't want to change it, because the thing that I don't want is to jeopardize my my integrity, like not only my personal integrity, but like my artistry as well. I don't want to, in my mind, like there's certain things that would be like selling out. And I've had offers for things come through that'd be like, oh, you can, like get this synced. And it's like, we're going to give you this deal. It's like that. Do I even want that? And I have to like sign over my masters, like the rights to my master, and then it's a lot. But
somebody wanted you to sign over the rights to your master for a sync.
Yeah. So quickly, I sent in like a playlist to. I'm not going to mention the name of this place, but I sent in a playlist of my music to a sync library, and they're kind of like one of the better known ones. At least that's what I've read about. And months go by, nothing. I'm like, okay, I guess they just weren't interested. And it's like 3 months later, they hit me back, and it's like, hey, we listened to this. We want you to be a part of this. And we want these 2 songs. And I'm like, okay, that's that's cool. Like before they even said like it needs to be exclusive and we'll give you this upfront fee. And then you also get like royalties and you get the pro. And I'm like, I gotta think about this. And there was this, like if I didn't ask, I think I would have came to my senses. It just might have taken me a little longer, but I did ask Jamie. I'm like, hey man, like Jamie from Dominus. I'm like, hey man, like what do you think about this? And it's like he gave me some advice. I'm like, yeah, this just it's not in my best interest because they were wanting Resurrection and Afraid of the Dark. Well, I'm like, Afraid of the Dark is not even on the table because I'm a like Alan, One True God came to me with that track, right? Like I'm like, I can't do that. I don't have the rights to do that, nor would I do that. But with Resurrection, I'm like, it's not worth what you're offering, you know? And I truly believe that this sync library, this agency just they looked at my Spotify and saw like, oh, this has like 2 million and this had like, they just looked at what's popular and said like, let's take that because I didn't include Afraid of the Dark on that playlist, you know? So I'm like, oh, they're just trying to like milk money off of me because they would then take the track, redistribute it, and then you're only getting like, you know, whatever percentage. I don't know. It's a whole racket. So in that moment, it's kind of like a reminder of like, hey, like, what are you really doing this for? And I think being in this position that I'm in right now, where it's like, I need to make more money. It's making it squirrely in the way that's like, I don't want to jeopardize what I have because I've seen that happen with other artists where it's like, and you know, like I can't really speak on that because I don't know their whole life story. I can just say from what I've seen, but I don't want to lose that. But then it also gets to the point where I said again, where it's like, am I treating this, am I putting this on like a pedestal where it's too precious and like I'm not doing things that are outside my comfort zone? And that, you know, ties into showing my face and blah, blah, blah. And I don't know. It's a whole weird thing. But to answer your question, I'm grateful for everything, but it's hard.
Okay. It sounds like it. Nick, what about you?
Yeah, I would say I'm very grateful for how well everything has been going over these past few years. But it's also been difficult. Wow, okay, I got a lot of things in here. So I guess on my end, things have been going okay. I moved from Japan to Vietnam at the beginning of this year with a specific intention to live somewhere cheaper so that I could afford to do music full time and live off of the few $100s a month I get from streaming and publishing royalties and things like that. And my savings and focus totally on music and doing that. And that's been moderately successful. But there was the whole, I don't know if you guys saw it, but there was a whole thing with a K-pop group using a reproduction of my song earlier this year.
I remember
that has entered. It's still going on. I got in contact with them and hired lawyers, and we've been talking, and I probably can't say much more than that, but it's taken a long time, and lawyers are expensive when you get good lawyers. And so it's pretty much eaten through all the savings that I had. And I looked at my bank account a couple days ago and I was like, oh fuck, that's like way less than I thought it was, especially because I've been investing money into like merch costs and some like instrument libraries, things like that. So yeah, financial stress as an artist is real, and I'm thankful that I'm somewhere where it's super affordable and I can skate by with very little. But looking at going back and getting another job, probably teaching English after over a year of not having to do that it's not feeling particularly inviting. And also, like, I don't know if this is whingy. You might have run into this a bit too, Bijan, but like the Spotify reshuffling they did at the end of last year, where they like nerfed radio and Discover Weekly and rolled out their own discovery mode to start doing things like all of probably 3 or 4 of my tracks that were in like really solid algorithmic rotation on Spotify all just like dropped off at the same time. And I was like, okay, if I keep putting out more songs and like, maybe 1 in 7 does well, then like over time I should be increasing the amount of money that I'm making off of music. And after that, like this past year has just been like pretty much a plateau. And even when I have a song that I put out that does well, like that song, the remix for Phil Gonzo did quite well. It's not even close to what things used to be, and the numbers and everything goes up, and then it just drops off. Even if trying to use like Spotify's discovery mode where you give up a third of your royalties for them to push it more, which is just very questionable business practice. But yeah, I don't know. I guess it's fine. Like, I feel bad whinging about having to get a part-time job because I know how expensive it is in America, and you guys have it way worse. So
yeah, but it's still
I'm cheering for you.
I mean,
but
it's still
it's frustrating to go ahead.
No, go. I was just gonna say it's relative. Like you're still experiencing the same thing. It's just a different way.
Yeah, and you chose to sort of move outside the system to try and find a solution for yourself. I mean, honestly, I admire you for it. I think it's a demonstration of like your dedication to the thing of like, I love this. How can I do it all the time? So not a lot of people would be willing to do it. So, hats off to you for like taking this aspect of your life seriously enough to merit such huge steps.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what else I would do really.
Sure.
That's a whole story, but yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But I guess I've been kind of frustrated because I'm like, I feel like this year I've put out some of the best music I've ever put out. I've been promoting it. Like, well, it could always be better, but like, I feel like I've been doing a really solid job this year, and to just see like the numbers, which aren't everything, and I'll get to that in a second, but to like just see all the numbers that I had attached a solid chunk of my ego to over the past few years, all just sort of stagnate out of nowhere, and to see my income, stagnate and even go down from what it was a year ago is frustrating, because I'm like, God damn it. Like, I thought I was really on a roll. Like, I thought I'm doing my best work right now and putting it out and things are going well. And like, why don't the stonks go up anymore? But it's fine. It's like a wake up call to adapt and find new things. And I've been focusing more on trying to, connect with the people who connect with my music, so I spend probably at least an hour a day going through all my messages and responding to people and having conversations with people, and like, whether it's about music or other things going on in life, and trying to like cultivate some kind of community. And then I'm working on building like a Patreon where I can do track breakdowns and other stuff. I haven't quite fleshed it all out yet. And working on a merch solution and how I can sell merch even when I'm living abroad like this. I can't just buy big cardboard boxes and have them in my basement and ship them out whenever. It's not really plausible. So figuring out a solution for that, and figuring out other ways that I can like monetize my art, basically. Finding other ways to make income from what I'm doing in ways that feel like they're not just asking for money from people. Like, how can I give people their money's worth? How can I give them value? And in return, they help me, fund the life so I can keep doing this.
And I mean,
this is that's been taking up a lot of my mental space.
And I mean, at least for me, and I'm curious if this is true for you as well, and for you as well, Bijan, but at least for me, in that respect of I'm trying to sell my thing to people, do you ever have those feelings of like, well, how much fucking value is what I'm making actually have? Because it feels so, if you suddenly put your own music aside and you're like, I'm going to go listen to some music, and you go and consume music in the regular ways, I guess, do you ever have that moment of like, well, my thing is so easily put down and moved away from that, like, you maybe struggle with finding its own value? And does that ever occur to you? Or I don't know.
I mean, I think there's an emotional swing.
Sure.
Just probably being a creative of any time, where it's just, you're like, yeah, I'm the best. This is the best thing ever. And then you're like, oh my God, I suck. Nothing I've ever made has value. And then it kind of, swings between those. Sometimes you're in the middle, but usually one of the extremes for me.
Gotcha.
I try not to think about it anymore. People seem to like what I make. And, especially some people, they're like, oh, I love this song. And I'm like, oh, I forgot I made that, but I'm happy that you like it. So if people like it, then I'm happy for them. I try not to compare my art to other people, like in terms of, is this good? It's like, I really like it and I made it, and I'm going to be proud of it and stand behind it. And like, I listen to other people's music and I'm like, oh my God, they did this really well. Or how did they do this? I want to try to do that. But yeah, I try not to have negative music talk. I don't think that would go anywhere productive.
That's smart.
Yeah, I'm kind of in a similar boat with that. Like just the other day, because it gets gets tough, right? Like you might fall into that trap. You might be on the side of just like, yeah, everything sucked. And then you're comparing like, maybe I should do this or blah, blah, blah. But it always helps me to look back at what people have said, like the nice things that they have commented and even like the bad things that they've commented. But just kind of, you know, if you can't like find it within yourself, then at least know that there's other people who appreciate what you do and like the value. You could place your value in that. I think it's better if you can place your value in just the process of what you're doing. Like I posted about the other day, because all this stuff, all these rewards, the congratulations, the accolades, right? Like it's all nice, but I don't, it doesn't help to expect that, because then you'll, you know, put all your time and effort into something and then maybe it doesn't, you know, maybe it falls flat. So find the reward, find the pleasure in the process of making. And I think that's kind of why it takes me so long sometimes to produce stuff. It's not necessarily because I want it to be like this perfect thing, because I really only do like one mix down because I've just worked it so much that like this is how it sounds. But I'm just having fun and I get lost in the process of like, what if we did this? Like, why am I trying to figure out an equation for, you know, how to properly set this delay? Like nobody cares about that, but I do, and it's fun for me. So I take the value, I try to find the value in the actual process. But when it comes to like, because I feel like, I don't know, was your question more about monetarily, like how do you value this thing? Because that,
I don't know how I meant it. It was it was kind of just like yeah, however you kind of take it. Yeah
because it gets that's how I take it, because you know, you can, I put a lot of, I think we all do, I think most artists do, they put a lot of time and energy and a piece of themselves in what they produce. And whether if it's them doing it for themselves or they're doing it for other people so they can feel a certain way, like there's something to that, and it kind of lessens the quality of it if you're trying to put like I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like it's
like a dollar sign on it, sort of a thing.
Yeah,
or
like how do
any
you
sort of a signifier to it, kind of a thing.
Right.
Okay.
You know, because how do you quantify? Like if I've worked on this song for a year, does that mean it should make this amount of money? Like,
right.
And then if we even go into that, like how much is music worth to you in comparison, which is not really fair, but in comparison to like other works of art, other like forms of art,
right?
Like music moves us. Music is so intertwined into like what we do as humans, but I feel like it's been manipulated in this way where it's kind of just like given freely, which maybe it should be, but people also have to survive. So I don't know.
Yeah, that is weird. Opening the door to a whole lot of other questions and, and a lot of other.
Let's close that.
A lot of other topics. I don't want to keep you guys forever, especially since I arrived late. Oops.
No, you're
but
fine.
But
I didn't even show up last time.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I got one up on you. Awesome. So I will go ahead and at least put the last question of the show to you both, which is just first, before we get to that, just real quick, like what is the next thing you have coming up that's like a cool thing that you're doing? I'm going to gently chastise you here, Bijan, just because I love your music and I'm like waiting. I am a fan. Hello. I am waiting for more. So when?
That's
When?
for me.
Yeah.
When?
That's for you. When?
So I am, I think you guys know me enough by now, and how I kind of like perceive all of this. I'm super, I just want things. I'm not like a control freak. I just think things could be better. Like I'm always trying to one up myself. So in this kind of where I am right now is like I'm just making a bunch of music so I can have stuff to release and kind of like sit on that, because in the past it was always kind of like a series circuit, right, where it's just like one song, then the next song, then the next song, like working on that in that way. But now I'm doing stuff in parallel, so I'm like, okay, I got all of this stuff to 80%, now it just needs a mix down. Well, we'll come back to that because my brain is wanting to do this other idea. So that's currently where I am. But then that's also being blocked by this goal that I want to achieve, where I, being not gone, but like haven't released anything. Pretty much just the Phil Gonzo remix this year. That's the only thing. I want to come back in a way that it's like it was worth it for everybody, because I just want to mold it in a way that's like, this is Tzafu. This is what you can expect from a live performance. This is what you can expect from, the visual representation of it. And then also, of course, like the music. Like I think I just get so intertwined, like so involved in telling a story that it kind of takes up a lot of space and it takes a little bit too much time. But that's kind of where I am. Like I'm excited about the new stuff.
Okay.
And then there's also like another little thing. It's not little, but there's just something that's gonna happen that it seems pretty evident it's going to happen this like later this fall, before the holidays maybe. And it's not necessarily something new, but it's a milestone. It's something that I've been like, that would be so cool, and then out of nowhere it's like, hey, and I'm like, okay, so I'm happy about that. But yeah, okay. I can't really put, I know everybody, I know people, who follow me, who appreciate my stuff. They're waiting.
That's me.
And I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just want to present it to you in the best way possible, because, if I do it any other way, then I don't think it will. I'm not looking for the impact. I just want it to be worth it, because you've all given me so much. Like I think I say it all the time, but the only reason I was able to make this huge jump to Chicago was from all the royalties from streaming. Like, I never touched that since starting like releasing stuff back in 2017. So I'm like, you guys gave me this, like, let me give you something,
Okay. Okay. I'm waiting. No pressure, but
but pressure.
Yeah. No, I admire your dedication to like, I'm going to do this fucking right. But, I am also just sort of also waiting. So I'm eager to hear it. And, I'm excited for whatever your thing is that happens later that is an indeterminate size. However big it is, I'm sure is great. So, okay. Nick, what do you got coming out next? What's your next thing?
When might this episode go live?
Probably in like 2 weeks.
Okay, word. Well, I guess a week ago I played a show in Amsterdam then. But no, 6 days from now I'll be playing a showcase with the label Moritan in Amsterdam, alongside Phil Gonzo and Bloody Boy and Assalm and Vaktang and Phobos is headlining, and that'll be my second live show of the year, and I'm really excited for that. Get to do something different. I played that show earlier in Sydney, which was huge and a big milestone. As a headliner, and now I'll be support. And so it's kind of been a fun challenge to figure out how to do, figure out what I want to do live when it's not, when I can't just turn it all the way up to 11. How can I do something that I still think is fun and energetic while not, stepping on anybody's toes who might be playing after me. So I'm pretty excited for that. I have 3 merchandise designs that I've been working on for a while, and I'll be putting those up, I hope in September or October at the latest. And then I've a few more singles this year. There's going to be one will be out by the time this is out, and then I have a remix collaboration coming out, kind of same with the Phil Gonzo one. Similar deal with Circuit Preacher, who's an industrial artist. And then there'll be 2 singles, the first 2 singles for my album to close out the year. And then next year, I'm going to release the album probably as a string of singles for the most part. I'm thinking, probably like every 3 weeks. Just fucking get it out there. And I'm going to do my level best to make it into a cohesive, semi-narrative art piece, because it's just, basically snapshots of my life throughout a certain period of time during COVID. So yeah, that's really my main focus, and it's all I talk about, and my girlfriend's sick of it. But I've been working really hard on the visuals for that, and figuring out the songs, and figuring out new sounds, and how I want to, figuring out what I want to do going forward to not stagnate in my sound and what I'm doing. So
Gotcha.
I'm excited to work on all that, and I've been hyping it up for years now, and I'm finally doing it. And yeah, it's on the record. So if I don't do it, you can have me back on and berate me.
Okay, I will, because I love berating people. So I will. I absolutely will invite you back on to do so. I'm excited to hear it because I've been enjoying, for both of you, I'm a fan of both your works. The Phil Gonzo remixes, and I got to mention it again because you mentioned our man Gonzo. Both of your remixes of his stuff have been fantastic, and all of the remixes of Phil's stuff have been really, really good. But yeah, some special magic. It'll be cool I'm a little jealous that you get to see Phil do his thing live. I think it's cool that you'll both be able to be there. Are either of you gonna play Fuck Around Find Out, like the split?
Yeah, well, first off, for the remixes, like in fairness, we have pretty good source material to work off of. It made the process super easy. And then Phil plays right before me, so this is his first live show, I believe. So he's going to be playing an all original set, and it should be sick. And we're going to use that Fuck Around Find Out remix as the go between track for the two of us.
Gotcha.
That's so dope. I wish I could be there.
Yeah, me
I
too.
wish you could be there,
That's so
man.
sick.
Get on a plane. No, I
Move there, like
Be right there.
Move to
It's
Amsterdam, dude. It's super affordable.
super affordable. Yeah,
No, it's
what? I
not.
got like 4 days, 5 days. I can do it.
Easy. Yeah, I'll be right there. Okay. Well, I'm sure, hopefully at some point in the future, we can all get together at a festival thing and see each other. That would be cool. I'm popular and influential. Maybe I'll see what I can see what I can do.
Void Signal Festival.
I know it's not just a dating game. It's I try and pull the levers behind the scenes just to get things to happen, just so I can enjoy them. Okay, so I will go ahead and put the last question of the show to you both, which is just, what is something that you have been enjoying recently? Your answer can be anything, game, book, movie, whatever. Just what's something that you have been jazzed about when you wake up? And I always answer as well. I will actually go first this time because I actually have an answer and I'm not like just blanking out like a mannequin. So I have been Warhammer 40k Speed Freaks has come out, and I've been playing that on Steam a lot. It is like vehicular combat. It is free to play. It's Warhammer 40k orcs in tanks and speed like snaz wagons and squig buggies and just explosions and shooting people, and it's low stakes fun and just takes me back to my youth of playing like Twisted Metal and bullshit like that, and I've just been so in love with it. And it's just one of those games that I'm going to pick this up and I'm going to play it for 15 minutes and I'm going to put it down, and that's totally fine. It is a toy, and it is very satisfying as a toy to like, I'm going to pick it up and play with it, and then I'm going to put it down and leave it because I got to get back to work or doing whatever. But just a chance I'm going to turn my brain off and make some explosions and enjoy my thing. Yeah, that's what I've been enjoying. Anyway,
Is that only online multiplayer? Because I downloaded the beta and tried to play it, but my internet sucked so bad that it like wasn't playable.
It is online multiplayer only, but the servers you might have better luck now that it's like the full release.
Okay.
Yeah.
Might have to give that a shot again.
Yeah. It's a blast. If you can't play it, you'll be missing out. It's pretty rad, but it is a blast. What about you guys? What's something that you've been enjoying?
Go for it.
Just
Unless you need time to think.
No, I think I got it for once. Just plants and people, to be honest. I don't know. It kind of slows me down in thinking, like worrying. It slows me down in worrying about all this stuff. Like, when am I gonna release this stuff? Is it gonna be good? Blah blah. All those questions kind of just like fade away when I just go outside and, I don't know, interact with the world. Because it's been weird. Like, there's a couple of instances where, doing this stuff, I'm just outside and just talking to people like within the community. And it's really like, it's the community here, at least talking in terms of the industrial scene, the dark dance, whatever. Everybody is so welcoming here. Everybody's so nice, and it's crazy. Like, I remember going into it's called Subterranea, I went there one night, and as I walk in, people are just like, "Hey, Vishan, hey." I'm like, "Oh my god!" So like, I guess I'm here now, type of thing. And that's just, it's, I don't know, it feels good. It's nice. I love everybody here, but also plants. It's been, plants and people.
Yeah.
But yeah, coming back here, like into my apartment and just seeing plants, and it hasn't always been great. I've kind of lost two. The leaves have fallen off of some, but it's fun because not only am I having like to take care of something, but I'm learning something else. Like, oh, this one needs direct sunlight or indirect sunlight. Like, what is that exactly? Like, oh, you only need watering this much. Maybe that was a little too much water. So all these, I don't know. I like plants. It's nice to see things flourish. So that's been fun.
Okay. That's an interesting answer. I'm not criticizing you or making a joke of you or anything. Just like remarkably wholesome.
He's gonna make both of us look bad. It's just
I know.
Yeah, you guys are so materialistic.
I know. I'm like,
yes.
No, you're fine. You enjoy what you enjoy, and just in this moment, it's people and plants for me.
Right. Yeah. Sure. People and plants. Okay. Cool. Well, fuck me, I guess. All right. Cool. All right, Nick. What do you got?
Well, I actually just bought a plant this week.
Oh, cool.
Wait, what's its name? I forgot its name. I have to ask my girlfriend. But yeah, it's nice. I appreciate plants too, but I'm bad at it. I'm not even going to try to pretend. You asked what am I excited about when I wake up in the morning, and what have I been enjoying? And I don't know. I feel like I've been going through my days mostly just through sheer force of will, and because my motivation is coming a lot more from like, there are deadlines and things that need to be done before a certain time. If I don't do them, then I don't know. I haven't actually contemplated that. Maybe it'd be fine, but like,
are you enjoying making your deadlines?
I guess so. I had to. You said that, and I panicked, and I was like, "Let me look through my like recent files on my computer. Like, is there anything I've been excited about? I've been excited about learning about grain filters and different blurs in Photoshop. That's been really fun.
Okay.
Graphic design is like I said,
is your passion.
Maybe it's a burgeoning passion.
I mean, I'll say it. It's one of mine. It's my passion. I don't give a shit. Like, I started out doing terrible graphic shit for voicing, but I've gotten better. Like, you learn as you go.
It's fun, and it's kind of low pressure. Like, if you make a shitty picture, it doesn't take you like. Making a shitty song could take 12 hours, and then you're like, oh fuck, good. But if you make a shitty image, you're like, oh, that was like an hour or two of my time, like whatever, next. And I guess that I had something else. Space Marine 2 is coming out in like a couple weeks. I'm pretty excited for that. Looks like the best Warhammer game that's ever been made, maybe, as far as like first person control. So pretty jazzed about that. Hoping that it won't eat into everything else I need to do too much. Yeah, and I've been having fun like making sticker designs and making t-shirts, and I guess graphic design is my passion.
Who knew?
That's kind of been my like relax and unwind thing. It's like I finished doing my work for the day. I guess I'll do this other work that's fun.
That doesn't feel like work. Yeah, I do the same thing. Like after I'm done editing and episode making bullshit, like I'll just put on some music and unwind with making some social media bullshit. Like it's fun. It's relaxing. So yeah, I guess understandable in the graphic design being a passion thing.
That's good too, because it's still supporting or benefiting the project, You get to switch your brain.
Yeah. And I also have to say that like as I have turned my passion for graphic design into, as I've worked on it and it's gotten better, it does become more noticeable in others. Like you will look at other people and you'll be like, man, they don't post hardly anything, or they didn't take their logo and slap it onto this and do this kind of a thing with it. That seems so easy, but it's like you almost can very easily take it for granted of like, I'm not a master, but I at least have the skill to take the logos and put them together in this way and make it look okay, right? And some people don't even have that.
Yeah.
Need to be a control freak about.
Yeah, that's true. All right, good job. Okay, that is it. I will not keep you both for too long since you're both so sleep deprived and were nice enough to wait for me to show up and eat my California burrito while but Yeah, thank you both so much for making this work, coming on the show, having a chat. I'm big fans of both of you. I'm eagerly awaiting your next releases, and some people may be waiting more eagerly than others. No pressure, but it's thank you both again so much for coming on, making this work. And yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure.
man.
This was
Yeah.
fun.
This was great. Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Thanks for
for
having me.
sure. Yeah, for sure. All right, I will let you go. Please.
Void Signal intro and outro courtesy of Processor. Visit processor2.bandcamp.com for more Processor, and visit voidsignal.net to help support the creation of more Void Signal. Stay safe, stay loud.